Here comes the 9 to noon radio show on a Wednesday. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. The TimberTech What's on Deck set list momentarily with a Wildcard Wednesday. But first, Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org, along with prize picks. And the head coach joins us now. Hey, Chris, how about that on-ball defense by your squad in the Mavericks game? And good morning, buddy. Thanks for the time.
Hey, yeah, no problem. Happy to be on. Thank you. Yeah, it was good, man. Our defense has been outstanding, really, in the last couple of weeks. I think we rated number one in the league over the past 7 or 8 games. And it starts on the ball. It always does start on the ball, and we're getting after it right there. And then, when we're good on the ball, we seem to be better at the rim. It gives Rudy a little bit more time to be at the rim and do his thing. So
when you say top-ranked defense in the NBA the last couple of weeks, like what are a couple of identifiers?
A couple things. One is our pick and roll defense has been outstanding. Again, a lot of it starts with what we're doing on the ball. Our fouling has kind of decreased, so we're doing a little bit better the job there. We've always played really good first shot defense, so sometimes the fouling and the rebounding will drag your numbers down if you're not rebounding well. It's as you know, with all these things, PA, it's all connected. Like if you do a good job of containing the ball, you don't get put into rotation. If you're in rotation a lot, then you struggle to rebound because you're kind of out of position when the ball is shot. And so it's just kind of a chain reaction of things that happen, and you're always playing catch up in a possession. And so just being better on the ball has been good, better in transition, take away the easy stuff. Offensively we've struggled a little bit, but we haven't fed a lot of transition opportunities for our opponents with turnovers. So we've done a better job of kind of helping our defense out in a lot of ways too.
Thanks for the deep dive. That was fantastic. Anthony Edwards against Dallas. You loved his game, didn't you?
I did. I thought it was the perfect game to come back into the mix. He played quicker. I think you saw when he sat out that, he needed to kind of pick up his decision making. He played quicker. I thought he played in the flow. His defense was really good. And it was perfect. Like he was going to be on a minutes restriction, and we were able to kind of take care of business and keep him well under that. So he could get a first run under his belt. Get some wind, get some confidence back in the knee. He looked like himself out there. He shot the ball extremely well, and we couldn't have asked for a better, game back.
Hey, Chris, when you say Anthony made quicker decisions, in what facets of his game does that involve?
Yeah, I think it's just, less holding, less dribbling, less, kind of stand up in a place, go nowhere. I mean, he's an outstanding ISO player, so a lot of times he's looking to size up his guy before he attacks. I think, he like most of these guys that are elite one-on-one players in the NBA, they don't have any issue beating their own man time and again. But what happens when you hold and you're delayed and your reaction to attack is that you allow the second or third lines of defense to get into place. So now it's forcing you into tougher situations. It often leads to turnovers. Should lead to a lot of kickouts and finding your teammates on the perimeter. But, if you go quicker, you keep the rhythm in the offense for sure. You get by your guy, and the help defense is always a beat late.
Maybe Ayo Dosunmu heard you and I chatting on the radio last week when you praised Amen Thompson's rebounding as a guard, and Ayo was kind of like, all right, watch me go, coach. 15 at Dallas. And the thing that I really like, like we said last week, the 4 games up to our chat last week, Ayo was averaging 8 rebounds a game. He had 15 against Dallas with that triple-double. You can tell rebounding is important to him, correct?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He, we've challenged all of our perimeter players coming down the stretch here to just be better rebounders. It's been a bit of a weakness for us, and he just goes and gets the ball. I mean, he's quick, he's athletic, And some of this, you can talk about boxing out, you can talk about being in the right position, you can talk about anticipating where it might go, you can talk about all that stuff. But at the end of the day, rebounding is just a want-to thing. You just got to go get the ball sometimes. And he did a great job of just bird dogging it, whether it was in the air or on the ground. He'd go and get it. And his pursuit has been elite when it comes to rebounding the basketball. And he's also a great 50-50 ball getter, too.
Like it. In what ways does Ayo, or moving forward specifically in the postseason, how does Ayo Dosunmu make Anthony Edwards better?
A couple ways for sure. I think, gives us another ball handler out there, so it takes off some of that load and attention for Ant. So now he can work off ball, catch the ball with a live dribble, get the ball easier in some spots where he's like more comfortable with. Obviously his shooting, he stretches the floor well. So when he's parked next to Ant, Ant has great trust in him to be able to knock down shots when they're crowding him. And then I just think like he plays fast, and anything that can accelerate, Ant and Julius, like those guys are really good players. They tend to want to slow the game down, but they're also really good when they play faster. So when he's out there playing faster, he's dragging his teammates along, and particularly if Bones is on the floor too, we find a sixth gear, and that's been invaluable.
Pedal to the metal with the Bones, Ayo, Ant, and the rest of the gang, says Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. Jaden McDaniels, is he going to make it back for the playoffs?
Yeah, we're very hopeful that his timeline will line up with being ready for the playoffs. But we'll see what happens here in a week when we reevaluate him.
Would it regarding seeding in the Western Conference, given we're in the shadow of the finish line, would it be nice to have your seeding set so you could rest guys and tinker with lineups, or is the almost 1 week time up to the first round enough time to freshen the legs?
I think it's enough time. Obviously, it'd be a luxury in the Western Conference Final, and for some people it might be, being able to rest or tinker or do those types of things. But what the Western Conference has taught us is game 82 has always mattered in the last few years.
Yep.
And so there's every reason to think that the season's going to go down to the wire, and that's fine. When you make the playoffs by finishing in the top six, you get a week. That week is invaluable. You get a chance to rest, you get a chance to kind of rebuild, and then figure out exactly what your game plan is going to be. You can almost reinvent yourself at times in that week. So it's been plenty, and obviously we'd love to take care of business where we do have something assured coming down the stretch here, but we got a lot of work to do.
It seems like the Western Conference and the way teams are playing has become a weekly theme with us the last month. I mean, last night, Houston killed the Knicks, and I thought the Lakers looked really good against Cleveland. And given some of the teams the Lakers have been playing of late, I was excited to see how a defensively sound team like Cleveland would handle those guys, and the Lakers look good. In fact, into last night, Chris, the top six teams in the Western Conference were all on winning streaks of a combined 24 games. I mean,
yeah, I saw that this morning. That's crazy.
The best of the best in the West have just gotten hot at the right time, correct?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, everyone's kind of upped their game, figured out some things at the moment. I think, certainly with the Lakers, it looks like they've, established a rhythm and a pecking order there that's worked for them. San Antonio's been on fire since January. Oklahoma City's, healthy now again. And yeah, just, everyone like Denver, ourselves, and Houston, a little bit more kind of up and down, but still trending mostly up. And, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One is, everyone realized what's at stake. So their focus and attention and detail is at all-time high right now. And, there's obviously some scheduling things in there with some opponents, may not be wanting the same thing you're wanting on a nightly basis, if we say that. But, it's, Yeah, it's incredible. And I've been tracking it for a while, and it just feels like there's been a lot of win streaks in the top of the Western Conference Finals over the last 2 months.
Does it matter to you, or does it matter to you guys who you get in the first round?
Not really. We're not afraid to go anywhere or play anybody. So, I just always think it's bad basketball karma if you try to predict these things or manipulate anything. And like I said before, we still got work to do to make sure we're, in that top six, and that's our main focus.
Amen. The Detroit Pistons are next on the schedule for you. You get the Pistons for a second time in a week, and again without Cade Cunningham. They've won 5 of 7 sans Cade. What makes JB's team such a tough beat?
Well, I think they've managed to maintain their identity, which is their tough physical defense primarily. They do miss a bit of a go-to on-demand scorer, where Cade's have had an MVP caliber season, and he's able to kind of carry them in tough stretches, or when they absolutely need a basket, he can make something happen. But they've relied now more on kind of ball movement, body movement, a lot more fluidity to their offense. Everybody's kind of chipping in. You don't really know where the threat's going to come from a nightly basis, all while, continuing to still guard at a high level and play with great physicality. We're looking forward to this rematch. We just played them, 2 games ago. We had just a brutal offensive game. They did a good job of forcing us into tough shots, but we also missed a lot of really good shots. I think, we'll hopefully make those, but, it was a kind of an outlier in our offense. I'd really never seen us shoot as poorly as we did that night. But again, all credit to them. They played better, and they have a great defense.
Amen to that. Then you're at Philly Friday on a back-to-back, so you get to go home. And with what you just said about the Pistons and earlier this season here against the Sixers, I mean, this is like the exercising demons tour with Detroit and Philly coming up. Sixers, of course, have Maxey and Embiid. Paul George is back in the mix. Your guy VJ Edgecombe, who I know you like, they're rolling along a little bit. How do Rudy and Joel match up in that battle of trees?
Yeah. So the Sixers are a unique team. I mean, they've had so many injuries or people out. They've had a lot of different faces this year, but this is the team that they've got. The team that we'll be facing on Friday will be the team that they think can make a deep run in the Eastern Conference, and they certainly have the talent and the experience to do so. It's just, can they establish that late season chemistry and connectivity? And yeah, it tends to be a tough matchup for Rudy, honestly, because Embiid's big. He's extremely skilled offensively. He pulls you away from the rim a little bit, and he's really good at drawing fouls. And so I think sometimes we might give him too much of a cushion, and he's when you do that, like his skill then comes through, and he's able to really put his full game out there for you. So defensively, he does a really good job of soaking up the paint and anchoring that defense, and they do a good job with trying to take away the things your star players do well. And Embiid's key to that because they force a lot of things to him. So.
Hey, Coach, lastly, you mentioned the red hot San Antonio Spurs, and off what having not played the Spurs in like 2.5 months, is it all Wemby all the time, or maybe what's triggering their outstanding season?
Well, certainly Wemby's at the heart of it. I think without him, they're not the same team. But they do have a great spirit about them. They have a bunch of guys who are kind of, they've taken big steps. Even if it's Dylan Harper, he's gotten so much better through his rookie campaign. Castle is found a shooting touch just enough. They got Fox. They kind of have everything. Like, first, they have a deep roster, and everything complements each other very well. And everyone knows their role. I mean, even from Keldon Johnson, who could be the sixth man of the year, just with his impact off the bench. I mean, the starter quality guy who's just thriving in a role off the bench. So They're definitely deep and they're definitely led by Wemby, but they really have a complete roster. So,
well, here's why I brought it up. Lastly, is because they played Denver twice the rest of the season. So, in those games, man, we're going to be rooting for Ace Bailey tonight, and you might need to dust off that game-worn Mark Olberding when watching those games between San Antonio and Denver, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good name from the past, for sure.
All right, my brother. Travel safely and tear it up on the road.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, PA. Take care.
Yep, see you. Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Houston won last night. I think pulled into a tie with Finchy as the non-playoff play-in teams go. And the Lakers just kind of handled Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley in that group last night. Holy cow. I think you got Denver against one of those teams trying to lose tonight, Utah. And then Finch's team, Chris's team, our beloved Hal, takes on Detroit tomorrow night. Sounds like they're dead set to shoot better in that one. And Philly on a back-to-back. TimberTech and TimberTech.com provides the What's on Deck 9 to noon. We have a lot today, including a Wildcard Wednesday to continue our NFL draft-related themes up to NFL Draft Day, which is 3 weeks from tomorrow. That will commence at about 9:35 with some Lions larceny. We have some Bears boondoggling. We also have more alliteration. Rife with refereeing ripples. That's going to take place around the corner. Brett Larson, new coach of the Golden Gophers hockey team, will join us in studio about 11 o'clock. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. We happen to be quite excited about this Wednesday 9 to noon at your favorite radio station, FM 100.3 KFAN. Good morning.
Registration season is upon us. It's another walleye trip at Ballard's with me coming up in May. It's May 25th through the 28th. And all you got to do, you go to ballardsresort.com. You can learn about Ballards, which is unbelievable. I was just up there in February for an ice fishing adventure. But the water and the ice, it's clearing up. Sunshine and walleyes, it's all up at Ballard's. It's $5.95 total a person. It's 3 nights lodging, 2 days of elite guided walleye fishing. And that $5.95 also includes all your meals, rods, reels, bait, and tackle, ice, fish processing. It includes it all. It's a blast. And Ballard's, the people up there are amazing. Awesome facility. Awesome party up at near the border. So check it out, ballardsresort.com, and come walleye fishing with me.
Keith Ballard's name makes the mix.
Ooh. When
new Golden Gophers hockey coach Brett Larson is in studio at 11 o'clock.
Are you an angler?
No.
Oh, okay.
The Ballard's deal, though, sounds like a steal of a deal. And
down memory lane we go.
You want to hear some larceny? Back to the year of our Lord 2012.
Rice wide to the right side. Tate to the left. 3 receivers right. Here's the snap to Wilson. Extends the play. Backpedals to the 40. Looking, still waiting. Here as he lets it go to the left side of the end zone for a jump ball. And is it caught in the end zone? Touchdown!
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Golden Tate.
They got to look at it, don't they?
It was caught simultaneously. Caught simultaneously.
Happened.
The officials motion touchdown.
Replacement officials.
Golden Tate. M.D. Jennings was there. So was Sam Shields. M.D. Jennings had it, and on the way down, M.D. Jennings still has it, it appeared. How can they take that away?
Oh, the dagger with the dagger. I wonder if for Green Bay Packers fans, that replacement officials and Whitecap referee moment was akin to this for Golden Gopher hockey fans.
Totally able to regroup. Then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side. Centering feed.
Sorry.
And we got the new coach in studio today.
Well, I mean, listen to that highlight. I mean, the replacement officials, I believe that was the last game. Replacement officials worked. The NFL. And
they struck a deal 2 days later, yeah.
Was it 2 days later?
I think it was, that was the 24th, because I found that audio, obviously, and then I think it was the 26th. They struck a deal.
Well, that got some negotiating, collective bargaining strife over the hump by an egregious mistake made back left of the end zone with Golden Tate putting that bad L on Green Bay. It was an awful call. And the league subsequently got together with the NFL Referees Association, and they struck a deal, and the regulars were back. Now, fast forward to 2026, where the NFL's collective bargaining agreement with the referees union is set to expire on May 31st. Negotiations broke down 2.5 weeks ago, and negotiations broke down again last week. And there's little progress toward common ground, writes the writer at Yahoo Sports. Now, this is from a couple of days ago. So, the league, the NFL, is preparing contingencies should a deal not be reached, including the possibility of hiring replacement officials. Multiple sources with knowledge of the negotiation confirmed to an NFL writer at Yahoo Sports. Now, such replacement officials will not be able to step on NFL fields before June 1st per the NFL-RA collective bargaining agreement. But nevertheless, they could be hired before them. Compensation spent on replacement officials coming out of the pool that would theoretically compensate the league's longtime officials. So there are three main points of contention here. There are three main points of contention. And Nordo's reaction when I said, that 2.5 weeks ago, and then the most recent negotiation between the league and the Referees Association, it ain't going the right way. Then it's like, uh-oh. And that's what my initial reaction was, and probably still is. However, I'm going to stick by something I've said multiple times over the last 6 months to a year. The current state of officiating in the National Football League is the worst and most inconsistent I've seen in all my years calling football games. And so that for my taste, that's a couple of decades. And it's not necessarily, in fact, it's not the white hats. All right. Bernie Kukar, white hat, the ones on the microphone. You have a referee and then you have officials. So, I mean, this is.
Well, Trey Blake wore the white hat for a minute
and got demoted. So it shows the NFL knows what it's doing. In fact, somebody just got fired for making mistakes. This is a hotter topic behind the scenes in National Football League facilities, really than anybody knows. And it's all starting to come to the surface because, again, as I go, it's about the worst I've seen in 24 years calling games. The white hats, the refs on the mics, it's not necessarily them. It's the officials who are jumping levels and getting to the NFL too soon. And some, they're just not ready. I said it a little bit last night in passing when this came up. It's personally speaking, I don't expect everybody to take the route of like a Bernie Kukar, where, Bernie did 3 Super Bowls. He's one of the most well-respected referees in the history of the National Football League. Well-liked by coaches and players. He handled business perfectly. He made mistakes, but he handled the business of the confrontational nature of these hotly contested games with aplomb. Bernie prided himself on handling things with poise. That's not necessarily the case anymore. And see, in thinking this out and thinking back to the last couple of seasons where officiating, I mean, it just, whatever hiring practices they're using, again, I'm not expecting people to spend 10 years in the MIAC, then 15 years in the Big Ten. And then 25 years into your career, you might get a sniff at the National Football League. I'm not even saying it has to be that anymore. There are more teams, and there are more games, and there's more money, and there are more opportunities. It's the fact that some are just not ready, quite overmatched, and quite indecisive. Players and coaches are so crafty. They put umpires, side and back judges, and so on in positions to make tough calls. Why? Because they've seen on film certain overmatched officials are legitimately having season-long problems. So when it's like, let's just lay it out like this. That highlight you heard from the last play with the replacement officials in 2012, that was just too much. I mean, people were like, just make it stop. So I don't know what went into the end of the negotiations, but it stopped. So the NFL, I think by admission or via some reports that I've read lately, the NFL is dramatically more well-prepared now to handle replacement officials than it was in 2012. And that's fact with the fact that, hey, it could be a negotiating ploy, but it's also real. If we don't get together on this, we're going to hire 150, and they're going to get paid whether we come together on a deal or not. And oh, by the way, if we have replacement officials, we're going to use that eye in the sky to overturn obvious mistakes involving certain plays. To which my response is, or like what makes me quizzical with that is like, why don't you do that anyway? Like why aren't we doing that anyway? But maybe it has to do with length of game, stuff like that. Whatever. That's where we are with the situation between the NFL and the Referees Association. And the three main points of contention have stalled negotiations, according to sources from this Yahoo writer who does a good job. And the first is an NFL desire to increase accountability measures for poorly performing officials. The NFL wants the ability to place lower performers on probationary periods, arguing that players and coaches' job security depends on their performances. So why shouldn't that of officials? Why shouldn't it be the same? Officials have in recent years worked spring leagues as a method of more time on task. But the league wants the ability to require such development procedures for low-performing officials rather than it be subject to those officials' discretion. Number two is a disagreement on playoff assignments. The union wants playoff assignments to hinge on official seniority, giving preferential treatment to veterans. The NFL wants performance rather than seniority to dictate playoff assignments, with the ability for new yet capable performers to earn playoff assignments. I mean, I just want to stop right there. And I mean, are you kidding me with this? And then number three, disagreement over compensation. NFL's offered an average raise of about 6.5% per year over the 6-year life of the deal. The 2019 negotiations granted officials an average of 5.75% up per year after agreeing to 5.2 in 2012. The officiating union is arguing NFL officials should be paid more commiserately with officials from the NBA, MLB, and NHL. NFL believes not fair parallels given how many more games those officials work, and so on and so on and so on. The league believes it's more ready to respond to a potential officiating lockout than 2012 due to advances in technology, boundary line cameras, rules, and replay assist staffing. Among the NFL's proposals to the union, hiring 17 referees full-time. The league has proposed that such officials would fly to New York on Tuesdays in season to review the week's performances, as well as help recruit and train officials in the offseason. So I'm negative on full-time officials. I think it's a waste of money. I don't think you should have the ability to tell school administrator guy, lawyer guy, sales lady, whatever it is, that they can't have that other job, specifically when you're not giving them benefits. So the pay, nearly $350 a year I think that might be starting pay, or it's on average. That's in another lane. All right. Because you go down that lane, then you get people looking at the bottom line of the NFL and say, everybody's printing money. How come you can't go to 10% like the refs want? Why do you want to, sit here at 6 and whatever percent? And that's a big part of it. I understand. The second The second disagreement regarding the playoff assignments, I don't see how anybody with a straight face can look at somebody and say, no matter how well or poorly they officiated games during the season, the postseason officials are going to get those posts due to seniority. Where the NFL's like, no, they're not. We're going to use capable performers who are graded on a weekly basis, to officiate just the most important games of the season. I just don't see with a straight face how you can look at it like that from the referee association side and actually think you have a case.
Isn't that kind of how some other unions might work, like a trade union? I mean, if you're a super bad performer in any trade or any industry, there certainly should be negative repercussions of that. But whether it's a trade union, pilots union, right? I mean, an airline might have 15,000 pilots, and there's an elite pilot, but he's 10,000th on the list.
I got no idea.
So the guy that has so many more hours, regardless of how much more or less capable he is naturally going to get more opportunities because he's higher up the list. So the seniority aspect, I think it's more common than you'd realize in labor unions.
Right. I'm just in situations like this where there's so much money involved in these games and in this league.
That's why they need to hire him full time.
And it's a separate segment for a different time. Why do they have to hire him full time?
Well, you were talking like it's unfair to the lawyer or somebody else. I mean, the league is in charge of its own entity. So I don't think it's about fairness. You want the best possible performances of these people, and arguing with the union, the control that they would have to train their own people. This is an opportunity. We're going to privatize it. We are going to keep all of this in our house. Our refs are now going to be our employees. We'll pay them benefits. That would certainly have to be part of a conversation. Mm-hmm. And then these individuals will indeed have to choose. Hey, this is a really cool thing as a little side piece for years. NFL is ending its collective bargaining with the union, and they're taking it all in-house. Now I have a choice. Yeah. Do I want to continue doing civil litigation and then doing this on Sundays, or do I want to join the NFL full time? If they truly want as much control as you're talking about that the league does, that's what they will have to do, and it will be very expensive.
All of them full time? Like what do all officials do from mid-January up to training camp?
Well, at least the referees.
Yeah. So hiring 17, okay, that's fine because it's such a small percentage. Whatever, we're getting off track. When we immediately think, oh no, replacement officials.
Yeah.
I say why. I mean, the officiating in the National Football League is so bad and so inconsistent. And again,
I can wear the white cap for a game.
I'm not talking about the white caps. I'm not talking about the leaders who have earned their way up the ranks to that spot, and they're running the best ship they can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can have 17 of them full-time. That's great. Give them benefits, let them review performances, and hire new people in the offseason. Maybe that'll help a lot. But this has so infrequently been a problem until the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Where officiating, and again, the umpires, the side judges, the back judges, the ancillary officials, I'm telling you right now, I know it is fact. This is here's the reality because of the people with whom I chat. There are teams, and a lot of them, and a lot of players and a lot of coaches, they will know who has their game by Tuesday. They're going to know where they make mistakes, in what situations they make mistakes, generally in what situations in games they make mistakes, and they're going to do their very best to dial up a play like that to put that person in a position to benefit them.
Yeah.
Now, that may be age old, but the thing is they're continually making mistake after mistake. It's indecisive. Why? Because they're no longer required to put in the requisite time to develop the quick twitch with the brain. Like a quarterback becomes good with his quick twitch. How? Reps. Rep after rep after rep after rep. It may be monotonous to most people, but for what they do for their craft, they become quite good at it.
Yeah.
The more they do a certain thing. Same thing with the officials. But I mean, you got officials jumping levels like never before,
right,
to be wedged into the National Football League.
No, I'm totally with you on all that, and I
just to land the plane here. So like when it was like I did the same thing last week. Maybe replacement officials. Oh no, Katie bar the doors. I don't care. I don't care. Find the 50 best you have and get rid of the rest of them.
Yeah.
If you can't come together on a simple disagreement where it's like, yeah, but Vern over there has been doing it 30 years, and even though he missed 45 calls this year, he gets a chance to be an official in the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's not merit-based. That is so ridiculous that they would even fight that side of the equation.
No,
in my opinion.
No, I agree. Again, I see that as being quite typical in terms of, their support.
I didn't know that.
And it's kind of, a lot of people will look at it as a time served thing.
That's great.
And there's an element to that. But
somebody should tell them time only matters in prison.
But that's why I think they have to hire these guys full time. And I know you're not talking about the Whitecaps, but I think that's the start of the NFL clawing back and truly owning the quality of their own referees. There are other elements to this too. Think about how many more referees there are now, and that's not just in NFL. That's at every level. And so when the more you bring into a pool, I think you can distort and ultimately even have to lower the bar naturally just because there are so many more people that aren't ever going to be as good as Tony Correnti or Bernie Kukar. Then add in, we're seeing it in baseball right now, C.B. Buckner's been an ump for how long?
Yeah.
And people have lived with, that looked like that was a terrible call. The combination of video, the combination of technology, now with ABS. These guys look awful.
Yeah, you're hitting on some really, really salient points. Because with that example you've used, C.B. Buckner and what we talked to Perk about yesterday, automated balls and strikes, the NFL with the refs who potentially are going to hold out. Well, they're kind of like, well, we got these boundary cams, and we do have the ability to, it may extend a game 15 minutes, and fans and media and people may not like that. But if the right call is made, at what cost? As we're seeing with the ABS in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And with the ABS in Major League Baseball, some of these old schoolers ain't dealing it, and they may have to leave.
Correct.
So when it's like an I'm getting to the point where I'm like, why? I mean, just you have the performance, you have the scorecards, you have the report cards, you know what the performances are consistently.
Yep.
Then replace them, get rid of them, and do it on merit. If you keep making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, develop a program to potentially help them overcome those mistakes. Maybe that does involve something full time. But a separate conversation, what was really salient, I felt, with some things you were saying there, is like in the story I read, the source from the NFL is like coaches' jobs sometimes are on the line, and a missed call at the wrong time by somebody who perpetually misses calls.
Yeah.
Well, that could lead to that coach's dismissal.
Absolutely. It certainly could.
Well, that's foolish. Okay. I mean, really, how stupid do you think owners are? It really, letting somebody go from a job like that is going to come down to one call?
I think there have been emotion. I mean, I agree.
There were 10 coaches who lost their jobs this offseason. That's unprecedented. That's a third of the league.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation for a different time that involves social media and owners and panic and things like that. But it's all bubbling.
It is.
This is bubbling right now.
Did you see the one bit in Arizona, as not to belabor it, but one of the little rule changes or things that they agreed on in AZ was there's I believe for 1 year, if the replacement refs come in, the ability, basically eye in the sky or somebody in the booth can correct what would be considered an egregious error on the field.
And
so
where I think the NFL put itself in a box with that is, you're willing to do that?
Just 1 year?
Well, why don't you just do it, period?
Correct.
Why don't you do it in every game?
But that's the thing that frustrates me now is I'm thinking the innovations that they've made technologically with all the cameras and everything. But how come
Boundary cam?
How come a noon game in Charlotte doesn't get the same cameras as Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football?
That's a really good
Why
point.
are we this virtual measurement thing? They changed one of the few more archaic looking things that actually worked pretty damn well.
That's a really
for
good
decades.
point.
I mean,
that's something I overlooked too. Is you're right. I mean, if you have 1-13 Carolina playing 1-13 New Orleans at noon Central late in the season, week 15 or whatever, there might be 5 cameras at the game. In fact, the sideline angle might be from some producer's iPhone. So that's an unfair situation when it comes to the eye in the sky. And well, no, because that would be controlled by New York. But just lastly here with the replacement refs on the other side of it, where emotionally speaking, I'm kind of like, just let them go, man. Just let them go, and let's go back to whatever process or procedure you had where people had to put in the time, put in the work, recognizing the lines are long and the gigs are hard to find. And people worked their way. They worked their way so hard to get to these levels, sometimes for decades to get there. That's not the case anymore. And it's they are reaping what they sowed with the way they're hiring some of these officials. Now, you bring in replacements. Now, with legalized gambling all over the place, now this is not a concern of mine, but permitting replacements into the games at the highest level with all the legalized gambling you have, I mean, yeah, if they're with the replacement refs, I mean, even messed up calls over a week, like a single game in the age of rage, if it doesn't go their way, well, that could. There will be accusations of ulterior motives, specifically when it's replacements.
Right.
So that Pandora's box is open too.
Yeah, they pull some replacement ref who was just like, like a high school coach.
Yeah, he didn't know he worked at Diamond Joe's when he was 19 on an internship.
His house is underwater. He's got some credit card debt.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Now he's deciding a playoff game.
Yeah, let's get Red Reddington on the scene to figure out what that guy was doing in Prague. All right. I clipped on your Lions larceny.
It's all good.
So we, no, that excites me. So I just wanted to vent that a little bit because it's really, really beginning to frustrate me. And it's a Wildcard Wednesday. This is the ultimate wild card heading into the 2026 National Football League season.
Indeed.
Monday mock, we had 2 for Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday tomorrow, despite it being box in the box. Wildcard Wednesday with the ultimate wild card, the potential of replacement officials. And we'll see how this goes. Hopefully they come together on something fair, including the right officials and Whitecaps getting to do playoff games and the Super Bowl because they earned it on merit, not because Vern has been there for 45 years and he missed 55 calls in the last 6 weeks of the NFL. Now all of a sudden he gets to be the umpire. That sucks. All right, this is 9 to noon.
Time for a Wild Card Wednesday, 9 to noon.
Fan. Time for Wild Card Wednesday, 9 to noon.
Indeed, a Wild Card Wednesday, and while the referee conversation certainly presents a massive, maybe the most significant wild card into 2026, I'm looking at the NFL draft just 3 weeks and change from now. And today's Wild Card Wednesday topic is going to be Lion larceny, as in the Detroit Lions, and thievery. The Lions hold the 17th pick in the first round of this draft. That's just one ahead of the purple. Man, it was so exciting. Sacking Jared Goff like 5 times in Detroit, bludgeoning them on Christmas, ruining their holiday. But the result is that the Kitties pick ahead of us on that Thursday night. So here are several routes in the vein of Lion larceny, depending upon what your first round flavor may be. So Lions picking ahead of the Vikings. Could they snipe us? Is it sniping season, Lion larceny style for Detroit? I'm going to start with a boring but potentially Thirsty Thursday angle that could matter. Brian O'Neill is in the final year of his deal. $23 million against the cap, $19.4 in money just this season. And by the way, I love Brian O'Neill, 124 games plus 3 playoff games.
Time.
Never.
I'm telling Gessling 05. Is that good?
Yeah, that'll be fine. Brian never turned into a Hall of Famer. We know that, but never utilized his apparent college-era pass-catching abilities, but we love him. He's also getting nicked up. And if he can battle through, he will, and he'll play. But he's turning 31 in September. Shares a B-Day with meat sauce, by the way. How these reps and injuries add up. Is he still super high-end? I wonder how much he has left in the tank. So combine that with the weirdness around Christian Darrisaw, though I'm mostly confident that's behind us. What about a tackle? Well, okay, fall in love with a tackle into the draft, and we're all ready to pick one at pick 18. Oh, wait, these Lions. They signed Cade Mays in free agency to play center. Rumors are they're moving Penei Sewell to the left to replace Taylor Decker, which puts Larry Borum, boring, on the right side at tackle. Larry! They hope Christian Mahogany strengthens his game. Tate Rutledge into year 2. I think they felt the burn of the O-line a year ago and might be apt to take a right tackle at 17. Lion larceny. We fall in love with Cece Mawigoa Francis out of Miami. We fall in love with Spencer Fano out of Utah. We fall in love with Caden Proctor from Alabama.
Frank Ragnow started all of this by retiring under the cover of darkness. So the Lions yesterday, I don't know who announced it, making Ragnow repay some of his signing bonus.
Well, did you see that?
Like Riley Reef got away with like $1 million and some $500,000 airstream. Ragnow's got a little HOF to him. They're so pissed off at him still, they're making him pay money back.
Ragnow's just trying to have lunch at Vic's out in Victoria, and he's getting a call from Brad Holmes. Hey, about $2 million of that signing bonus, please.
What? You want me to give you what?
Well, these 3 tackles, as I mentioned, Mawigoa, Fano, and Proctor out of Bama. These are the 3 names consistently mocked or considered top half of the first round. There's this dude out of Georgia, I think, Monroe Freeling as well.
Lions
on
larceny.
People's radars. But Lions larceny. The Vikings settle in on one of those tackles. Kitties are on the clock. They show video of Caden Proctor on the phone high-fiving his agent. That would be an L. That would be thievery.
Time for Wildcard Wednesday, 9 to noon.
But I'm not done. There are several ways in which the Kitties could absolutely snipe us and ruin our draft night Thursday night. How about this?
Jeez.
Forget about the tackle. But I'm not forgetting about this thing with Jonathan Grenard. This thing's weird.
How cheery have we been 2 of the 3 segments to start a Wednesday?
I know,
I lost my mind in that referee thing. It's supposed to go 8 minutes.
Oh, this Jonathan Grenard thing is weird, man. And if it doesn't come to a positive conclusion, would an edge rusher be on our radar? Maybe somebody like this guy.
On him up top. Clark under pressure. Throws it as he was being sacked. Akeem Messidor was there for Miami. They're going to roll out an incomplete pass.
Man, PA's guy Arvell Reese is probably going to be gone. Ruben Bain is a teammate to Mr. Messidor in Miami. He's probably gone. What about David Bailey from Texas Tech? I'm just kind of naming names, aren't I? But what if they're gone? And if those tackles go? And suddenly Brad Holmes is like, hang on a second. All right, Mr. Campbell, let's sit down here. We got Aiden Hutchinson on one side and DJ Wanham on the other?
Yep.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, they got DJ Wanham.
So while Rob is ready to call on the next great pass rusher for the Minnesota Vikings, 17th overall, the Detroit Lions take Akeem Messidor, edge rusher, Miami.
Oh, goody.
Lions larceny on a Wild Card Wednesday. But you know what? Rob, and he talked to you a couple days ago from Arizona, and it just kind of, he wants good football players in this building. Good football players. Yep. And maybe it's not just good football players. Maybe it's just best player available, most explosive player available, and probably not taking a center, right? I mean, we figure out this Grenard thing, everything's fine, and we love Brian O'Neill, so we added in another couple years to the bit, some void years, etc. Rob does his thing financially. But Thieneman's gone, tackle's not on our radar, and we want to splash hard with great football players. Maybe it's this guy.
New personnels and formations. It's going to be fun to watch.
He might go 5 deep at running back, go to the outside, and a hit and a shed of Sadiq. Touchdown!
Hey,
That's a big boy score for the Ducks.
Sure is.
Kenyon Sadiq's part of my Bears boondoggle in about 35 minutes.
Well, the Lions have Ben Johnson and VPA. They see Kmet. They see Loveland. They see how they power through with multiple tight ends, how explosive they can be, how it impacts their run game.
Yeah.
And now Montgomery's gone, so they want to make sure they put Gibbs and Isaiah Pacheco on a platter. Protection game, the whole thing. Maybe better means best, and they add Kenyon Sadiq with Sam Laporta at 17, and we're sitting there, pockets turned out at 18.
They're at 17.
You're on stage at U.S. Bank Stadium, and the whole thing goes south.
That's until the man who single-handedly ruined their 2025 season moves from 25 to 16. To get the tight end with the 4.3 speed, and that's part of the Bears boondoggle about 35 minutes from now on a Wildcard Wednesday.
One final
That's Lions larceny right there.
Lions larceny in play potentially because we love Byron Murphy. We love Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah, final year of his deal. And if he replicates his previous season, we ain't re-signing him for $8 million. So
Fabian Moreau, James Pierre.
Come on. Zemiah Vaughn. Nudie! It's Nudie!
Why you got to doubt James Pierre? Hasn't played a snap yet.
That's unfair. You're right.
Thank
Dwight
you.
McGlothern. We're forward-focused,
that's right.
future-focused.
He's been in the league longer than some others, so of course you want to elevate him to a spot where he has to play 40 plays a game.
How can you ask? Time served. Get that pension.
Time only matters in prison.
Maybe we like this guy.
Like their talent in the game. Milroe intercepted along the near sideline. Jermon McCoy across midfield. Terrible interception thrown by Milroe. Coverage with Williams.
Yeah, terrible interception. Jermod McCoy, frankly, I picked him because he's generally listed as next best after PA's guy Mansour Delane. He's coming off an ACL. That scares me a bit. Need to do more work on Avion Terrell. AJ Terrell's brother is going to be in this draft, maybe a first rounder as well. Colton Hood is Jermod's Tennessee teammate, might have some first round quality to him. But the Lions, DJ Reed's deal has an easy out after this season if he doesn't start living up to the money. Terrion Arnold, penalty prone, and from my standpoint, hasn't lived up to that first round equity either. So then it's Roger McCreary, Rock Ya-Sin, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. They got depth issues there, just like we do.
Jeez.
And it was even more exposed given the health or lack of via Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. And, well, frankly, that means Thieneman is an option maybe there, too. I don't know.
You said Terry and Arnold, too?
Well, I just think it's
been a disaster.
Too many. It hasn't worked out well at all. No. And so, just final Lion larceny bit. Let's get to Gessling and get some elite opinions from him. But Lion larceny on a Wildcard Wednesday. The Lions sitting at 17. There are legit 4 or 5 different ways that they could snipe us on Thursday night. So just be prepared for that.
Well done. It's the Lions. Ben Gessling, the scribe, covers the team, the Minnesota Vikings, for the Star Tribune. He joins 9 to noon each and every Tuesday. Make that each and every Tuesday, which is a Wednesday for a Tuesday appearance, but he wasn't feeling well yesterday, so BG is next.